Next, I'd like to turn it over to our assistant principals for athletics, Tom Doman and John Treiber, who will present the annual spring athletics summary.
Good evening. Go ahead and just say who you are for the TV audience.
John Treiber, Assistant Principal for Athletics.
Tom Doman, the other assistant principal for athletics.
Okay, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Quick summary of the number of athletes for the spring. We were at 446, which was another 27.3% like it was last year. Ironically, the very same percentage, different number of kids though. We had an increase of 12. There were some programs that went up. There was you might have a document that typo for track. There was actually 22 kids, so that was my math error there. But the boys track had a significant increase, along with girls track having some increase. Most of the other sports were fairly stable. They were either pretty close to their maximum number, and there was a few sports that had a little bit of a decrease with badminton, tennis, and water polo. But we really think that's a temporary decrease. There's just a few, not too many, and will change depending on the years of individual classes and things like that. John will go over the boys programs.
Okay, just to highlight, I know we've already heard some of our athletes and the accomplishments they had, but as far as the boys' sports go, pretty successful spring overall. Boys baseball was conference champs, 23 wins, nice season for Coach Till's team. They had an IHSA regional win over Morton, and they played in the toughest sectional in the state and got beat by St. Lawrence. So, but a nice season for our boys baseball program. Our boys tennis program overachieved from what we were thinking coming in. Finished third place in the conference and also won the Wheeling tournament as their champ. So I think the numbers, I'll go over numbers after this, but numbers in boys tennis, we're looking to improve. I think probably some of the off-campus facilities affect some of our numbers, and I think in that sport it probably did. As boys track and field, a successful season, their fourth consecutive Metro Suburban Conference champions, and they had IHSA state qualifiers, which you met tonight, Jalen Williams and Dean Zigelich. And our Frosh Soft got a nice nucleus coming up. They were conference champs as well, so looking for some good things. They would have liked to got more boys downstate, but we do go in one of the toughest sectionals, being a school our size. So, but overall, a pretty good season for them. Boys volleyball had a great year, one of the best ever. Coach Bonarigo's team won 28 matches, and they were the IHSA regional champs this year. Had an exciting sectional win over Morton in the first round, and then they lost a tough three-setter to Hinsdale Central in the second round. A very good program. So you met McLean Nolan, one of the keys to the program this year. Our boys water polo was in a transition stage, working on building up numbers with Coach Wolak, former athlete, swimmer, and water polo player himself. He'll build it up, and he's also our assistant swim coach, so he's got contact with those guys. Lower levels did a nice job with 15 wins in that program. And then as far as the numbers on the last page, and I'll let Tom cover the girls' sports. Basically, baseball numbers very similar. I know the question is asked about maximum number of participants, and I think they're pretty close to it with 53 boys in the program for 3 levels. Boys water polo, we're looking to improve, dropped a few boys in that area. Boys volleyball pretty much stayed the same, another sport that is close to maxed out at 43 boys, a couple increase there. Boys track does a great job with getting kids out. They would like even more. When I met with Coach Olson at the end of the season, they had 87 boys participate, and that's obviously a sport that takes all comers. So they're looking for good things next year. Boys tennis, pretty similar to last year, a couple down, and overall our numbers were up in comparison to last year, so as far as spring athletes go.
Girls sports, badminton being the first sport up, varsity was 6-6 overall. They came in third place at their own invite here at RB, which was a nice finish for them. And the junior varsity was 8-5, which is our next level, obviously below varsity. And we also played a freshman level this year, and so we had a lot of girls playing, a lot of competing during practice for spots, and hopefully that'll go to improve their performance next year as they get further into their competitions. Girls soccer had an outstanding season. 13-7 and 3 overall, second place in conference, but they won the IHSL Regional Championship and moved on to sectionals where they were defeated into the sectionals, which was very nice. They had, again, you saw the all-conference players. We had 5 of them, and that was one of the tops in the conference, obviously. Softball, record-wise, was 10-19, so it was a little below. They were third place in the conference finish. The junior varsity had a really strong year at 20-7, and freshmen at 11-11. So a lot of young players were up on the varsity. Again, moving towards improving the program and getting it better as far as the record goes. But a lot of kids competing again, and a lot of young kids. Girls track and field, well, we saw an increase in numbers there, up to about 50. So that's pushing forward in the right direction. They were fourth place at the track championships for the MSC. And again, the numbers have been increasing. Girls water polo was probably one of the most exciting spring events, spring athletics. They were about 500 overall, but they really did a nice job playing some better teams this year. They made into the sectional semifinals, so they were very close to competing and going to state. And what developed during the year was a very inspirational crowd of what we call, I guess, the ninth man. We had lots of students coming to the games, participating in the stands with very vocal and loud cheering, which was a lot of fun for our team and sometimes uncomfortable for the visitors. But again, they sparked a lot of interest, and again, hopefully they'll be moving forward. And the junior varsity was 14-5, so a great record there as they move up to be varsity players next year. The only other thing I have is that the number-wise, like I said, the sports, badminton was down a few, but we participated, we covered every level, and I think it was just a little bump in the radar because there seems to be a lot of interest coming along the way. Overall, this year, quickly, there was 31 three-sport athletes, so we're starting to see that continual regression in three-sport athletes, which is very common in most high schools with kids' desires and needs to go into other specialized skills and things. So we are seeing a decrease in three-sport athletes. The total number?
Total number of athletes that participated this year was 779, and total participants in all sports was 1138. So our enrollment's gone up a little bit, obviously, 1635 this year, and so our participation rate was just over 47.5%, which is a pretty good number for an overall.
So those 780 kids took up like 1,150 roundish number of positions on teams, so between two sports and three sports.
Okay. And you're working on for this fall or the August meeting after summer camps, try to get an idea of where we're at with collection on pay to participate?
Yeah, we have some preliminary numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Preliminary.
Do you need more time to work on that, or you just want to give a brief update?
I
know
give a brief
one board
update.
member's not here tonight, and I know that would be his question.
Yeah, well, right now, the percent collected was around 93.5 from the preliminary figures, so about a 6.6 uncollectible.
And we have some payment plans.
And
we
there's
have
some on
people
payment
that would-
plans.
Okay.
And breakdown of what sports they're all in is not, I did not have that information. So there was basically 207,000 round figures charged out, 193,000 paid, so like a $13,000 balance,
Right.
roughly.
As long as we start keeping track of that and the student athletes and the parents understand, next school year, you can't participate till your previous year is paid up unless you're on a payment plan and consistently making payments.
Yeah.
I think it's important to repeat that.
In our first year, our biggest thing obviously was trying to get as much collected as possible, and also keeping in mind that we try to get them on an installment plan before they were allowed to play in a contest. So that was one of the keys to get better collection going,
Okay.
at least get them on a plan. So we can get those numbers for you in August for sure.
As you wrap up your first year as interim ADs and people with a lot of experience, is there anything you want to share with the board or what you're going to work on in your second year? Or on it in regards to athletics?
One of our goals is to build up our booster club. It's something that we've been working on. We've had pretty good attendance. We finished up this year with a very low number in our booster club, so right now we're concentrating on the freshman, sophomore parents that are going to build this thing and be here for a few years. So I had 18 to 20 at our last meeting, so that was good. We're working on different committees with them, so that's a key, obviously, to get that promotion going, and more than concessions, get the golf outing back and some of those things that people like to do and good for the community. So that's one of the things.
Yeah, I think the other thing is the promoting their sports individually for the website and, per communication vehicles that are out there to keep everybody notified of what's going on, updates on changes and things like that. So they're getting more into using the websites and trying to promote through the online issues that we have.
With the exception of tennis, the fall season should run a little smoother now that you have an athletic
Yeah,
complex?
football's gonna go a lot better. We don't have to
Soccer.
practice 5 days a week away.
Right.
So, yeah,
Boys soccer
things will
will
be
be
much
able-
improved. We'll have soccer games. Soccer and football are gonna have a majority of games at home, because last year we were on the road so much, so it's gonna flip-flop for a year. So we can do a good number of concessions coming in those dates too. So hopefully playoffs again, we're hoping to host.
And the girls' tennis team will be on the road for a second straight year?
We're working it over.
Yeah, we have the Oak Brook, same setup as we had last year where they would, use that as their home court and practice facility. So that's, right now, obviously, the plan.
Okay.
Gentlemen, thank you very
Mind
much.
if I
Is there
ask
any
questions, Mike?
question?
Is there, you think everything's running great? I mean, are there things we need to look at or improve besides the Boosters Club? I mean,
think
one thing
that-
is we get a lot of reports, but we don't get a lot of
Yeah.
feel for, okay,
Yeah, I think in our end of season discussion with coaches, we kind of get a good grasp on some of the hard things that maybe they come across. And I think that any time that our athletes are playing in off-campus facilities like we are at Riverside Brookfield, that you're going to have some, people don't naturally see the sport, so they don't necessarily go out for it. I think that hurts us a little bit.
Mhm.
So the more we can promote to get people out to the events and come out to the games and contests, I think that getting the community more involved is a key.
Okay.
And obviously, we're working on building the feeders. By hiring feeder coaches should help to build numbers in our program. So I think you'll see the numbers
I
hopefully.
think a lot of the newer coaches that have applied for jobs and are starting to fill those positions when they're open are coming from the community, or at least working with the youth, and that's the only way that changes the numbers a lot, because, we have almost like conflicting goal of more numbers, but then you have the cost involved. And-
Sure.
And so you try to collect money from them, so and then they want to play, of course, so you have that. And I think you guys have talked about it a couple times, the saturation level. Some sports are just, you can't have anymore. You can have them, but basically they're not going to play as much, they're not going to be happy, and then you get that conflict going on. So trying to balance that right now, and the coaches that are, that's usually their main concern, is like, I can keep more people but I need some more help, or I need, I can't get them all in these games and stuff. So we are scheduling more and more B games for certain sports, like freshman and girls basketball. Basketball, and our conference doesn't always have a team, and every school doesn't have a B level, so.
The other issue is the IHSA changed the waiver policy for private schools. So what happened was RB was affected because more private schools got pushed to a lower class because they hadn't won for a while, so they were allowed to play down a size, and RB got bumped up in some of the team sports, which affects your success rate.
Sure.
Because some of our teams that have played some really tough, you're looking around Oak Park, Lyons Township, large schools that we compete with, but it's hard to win on a daily basis. So kids can get a little frustrated, coaches get a little frustrated, but they do a good job of building their schedule around success and also competition. So I think they've done pretty well.
Thank you.
Any new sports that you're going to test out next year or look at a little bit more?
We've had some interest, we're not testing any out, but we've had some interest in lacrosse. There's been some people that have contacted us, which we have talked to, and they just did a clinic recently at, I think they were talking about doing it at Eller Park. So that's an up-and-coming sport that, has generated some interest at schools larger than us or privates, but it is one that it seems to be coming
The
quickly.
state has finally moved it out of the emerging sport and sort of start to
2018 it
take it
becomes-
forward in a couple of years. So it has never been technically a sport in Illinois, so it's been kind of a stopping point for a lot. But that group has gone out and basically wanted to see who would show up. So we'll look for the numbers this come with that.
Okay, Laura has a question.
3 quick questions. So,
A question?
A long one.
no. So, maybe next year, not now, next to the name of the sports, if we can have in parentheses, like the maximum number, so we get an idea if we're hitting it,
Okay.
or if it's not very popular, because we don't know what sports are popular or not, given these numbers.
Okay.
That would help us know if
Sure.
we're like reaching that
Yeah.
saturation point. Not now, next year.
Right, right.
The next easy question, I was just curious on your new concession stand, if they like that. And then my third quick question was, oh, I forgot it because I was there leaving them.
I can give you the feedback on the new concession stand
Okay.
outside. They love the space.
Okay.
The only thing that they don't have is space to sell their Bulldog wear.
Ooh.
So that, they had to bring out a cart, hang it in front, so so we gotta work through that issue, but I mean, the space is great. So we'll
Okay.
work through that, we'll find a way that we can get traffic to flow through there better, and we only had a couple games to test it out, so that'll be something that,
And
but
the
they do love
storage
the
and the prep
space. It's-
areas
Yeah.
are very,
And the coaches love the new facility, having the trainer out there has been great for them, so the training room's awesome.
Before
Well,
we-
and then you jogged my memory on the third one, when you said the feedback has been great.
Yeah.
The last question I had was, do you send, like, for feedback, a post-sport survey out to either parents or our students and ask them what they liked or didn't like?
like an exit for seniors that are
Well,
leaving.
we didn't, and I don't know if there's past practice of that here, so that's something that we certainly could look into. We didn't
Okay.
do it in our first year because we're kind of looking at programs and,
Right.
but that's something that we could look at doing, so.
There are some schools that take their seniors and try to do an exit interview, like if somebody who's leaving work, or a company.
Or even just all the students, what did you like this year, what didn't you?
Some of the
what
coaches
worked
do
in-
that themselves,
Yeah.
but yeah, we could look into doing that to
Okay.
get some of the feedback. I think it's good to get probably the seniors that are going out as a good feedback. Sometimes if you're asking kids in the program and they're not playing, you'll get some of that. That happens. But,
Dr. Keen, anything on this side? Okay. Gentlemen, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving our focus on.